YouTube. Here we go. Holla at me. I want to go here today. Since it's a podcast, that's what we're going to do. We're gonna keep it copacetic right about there. You dig? We're going to keep it copacetic right about there. You dig me? The Alchemist. This is a rarity, guys. This is a rarity. The Alchemist is being interviewed. It was on a podcast. This was 2 years ago. Talking about turning beats into a business and cutting out the music industry. How many times, if you know, you know, how many times has the Alchemist said, fuck the music industry. It's ruthless, it's cutthroat, it's grimy, it's nasty, disgusting. And did I say ruthless? Yeah. Trash. Okay? And he found a way to be in the music industry, but not of it. So let's listen to the gems in this podcast. Make sure you like the video and do all that good shit. Make sure you share it to somebody who needs to, yeah, auntie too,
My ideas come from above, a higher source. I will be alive for a short time, but this energy was here before me and it will be here after me.
In 1992, a young man from Beverly Hills
Chico?
had an idea. A junior high schooler obsessed with hip-hop, Alan Alchemist Mammon wasn't sure exactly how. But knew that he wanted to express himself through rap music. Though
What up,
his first
Chico?
attempt to participate in the culture as a rapper fizzled in failure, the experience would put the 15-year-old on tour with Cypress Hill and under the wing of DJ Muggs.
15.
With Muggs' tutelage, Alchemist would switch vocations from MC to beatmaker, and in doing so, find his true calling. In the ensuing 25 years, Al would develop a uniquely menacing sound and assemble a catalog of classics. Today, he continues to release a steady stream of collaborative and instrumental albums through his own ALC Records, and is universally acknowledged as one of hip-hop's most celebrated producers.
That's right.
And it all started with one idea.
That's right. Don't you forget it.
When did you first develop your relationship with music?
Like we used to have like a piano in the house. I used to go over there and try to sound little things out. I think my mom saw early on that I was into it. And so she tried to give me piano lessons. You know, piano lessons is not what's up. So I fought it, but I did it. So that was like the beginning.
Started
just
early.
Like being creative, whatnot. And then we had like a little fake rap group when we were in elementary school called the Dope Poet Society. We like made hats with the iron liners, like most young
That's
kids.
Dope Poet
When
Society?
I look back, you know, these white Jewish kids in Beverly Hills embracing, you know, was the Beastie Boys. And I remember seeing them and just being like, wow. We're finding out one or two of them was Jewish or like white guys. What, they're on tour with Run DMC? They're accepted? Like that, all that shit worked on me as far as thinking, damn,
It's possible.
maybe one day I could participate.
That's right.
How did your parents' professional lives inform your own ambition?
AKA, all you need to see is somebody of your background do it, becoming a visual learner, so it makes it more possible and able for you to accomplish. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My father was 7 brothers, 2 sisters from Israel. Grew up there, and he like was the only one out of his
How was your
family
day, Chico, man?
And came to the States. He made his way out of nothing. So to me, that was always like a big motivating aspect.
Were your folks into music?
Yeah. My dad had his favorites. He liked ABBA, he liked Nat King Cole. He had like this really strange mix. And they had a record collection, you know what I mean? From the 80s left over, and those were some of my first beats.
So when did you start really like wanting to participate in hip hop?
My first stages were rapping. Just straight jacking your favorite rapper's verse. I would memorize a rhyme, change a couple of
It
words.
was drippy.
My name in it. And then I would just be at the mall in Century City, and the homies would be like, oh, wow, say that rhyme. And I would like say a rhyme.
She thinking it, you're gonna hit me.
When did you make the transition to like, all right, let's write real songs?
It was always just a thing we did for fun. Then I connected with my man, Scott Kahn. We were all doing graffiti. We were all being bad kids. We were all making rap. Scott knew this kid, Evidence. His graffiti name was Vane. And
Evidence.
He was already rapping and kind of doing his thing with Will, I Am,
Really?
who was Willie 1X at the time. And where we all connected
Wow,
was
Willie
this club
1X.
called Ballistics. Every Thursday night on Sunset at the Whiskey. That's the first time I met DJ AM. He was rapping at the time. Me, Scott, Evidence, Seth, who's Shifty from Crazy Town, Will I Am, and there's like a handful of other guys. But we would all kind of link up at this party every Thursday. And at the end of the night, they would always do a freestyle session. And
Network.
every night, like clockwork, Will would win. Like Will
Damn.
is so talented and was as a kid. Seeing him now, successful, makes more sense than anything. But at the time, him and Ev were real tight, and they had a group. Evidence lived in Venice.
Yep.
On 6th and Rose, his neighbor was Quincy Jones III. Evidence was like, yo, I'm gonna bring you and Scott to meet Q. So he brought us to meet QD3. That was some of my first times watching music be made. And that's when Scott and I we created the Hooligans. And Q took a liking to us. It was like, man, you guys are really dope. We kind of built our demo together, out working with Q, like producing with me and Scott rapping. We ended up signing to Tommy Boy. We got a meeting with Buzztone Management, which was managing Cypress Hill, House of Pain. And that day we met B Real, he was in the office. And then B Real executive produced us.
So you're in 10th grade. Are you going to school at this point?
Yes, kind of going to school, but we went on tour. So in 1993, the Soul Assassin tour happened,
Yes.
right? We had got signed. We didn't even have an album out yet, and we just got thrusted on this tour, this United States tour. With
He was a
Cypress
sophomore
was
in
on top of the
1993.
world. Soul Assassins was like huge. Only bigger thing out of LA was Dre, and what they were doing, Snoop.
What were your parents saying when you're like, all right, so we got signed to a label, and check this out, we have to go on
Yeah,
tour for
Be
3
Real,
months.
I
Evidence.
think they were like impressed. Like I remember they didn't really think much till I showed them like a check for like 30 grand or something. And then I remember my dad was like, okay, making some money, all right, shit. Also, the label was like, oh, don't worry about it, the management. Don't worry, we have a tutor
Hold on.
that's gonna go with them.
Yeah, no the hell, bullshit. But bro, 30 grand as sophomore, what are you? 15? You 15, 16 as a sophomore, bro? 30 racks. Bringing home to my Dukes. Bringing home that cheese to the fam. 30 rackies, bro. Gangsta.
And he's gonna make sure everything is straight. So we're like, cool. The day of the tour starts, we meet our tutor. The guy shows up, his name was Langston. He walks in the tour bus, he's like,
He's
man,
not no
listen,
damn tutor.
just keep me high this whole tour, man. Make sure I got some weed. You guys ain't gotta do no work. We were like, hell yeah. This dude rolled with us on tour. Just had a straight vacation, just became one of our crew members.
Yeah.
We opened on the tour. It was like such a learning experience, getting out there. And I was on tour with some real MCs, you know, Be Real, Everlast. Those are some of my first days. Also,
Yeah.
going to record stores with Lethal.
1993,
DJ
that
Lethal from
shit
House
held
Point.
weight.
He'd be in like St. Louis, he'd like take me to the record store and he'd just be like, yeah, box up the whole jazz and soul section. We don't got time. He would just buy the whole sections. And then he'd sit on his bus and I'd come in there and smoke with him.
And
he'd
sample.
have the turntable on his bus, take it from sound check, you know. And he'll be like, yo, listen to this record. See how it just sounds good? Listen to this record, it just sounds like shit. Yo, listen right here. See the groove? That's where the breakdowns
Just sample
are.
shit.
And listen, you can, okay. So like he was already schooling me on shit early.
Okay.
As far as like records, I wasn't making beats yet. But I was just a sponge. Like after that, it was over. Like that tour kind of clinched it. Like, yeah, if I could figure out how to do this as a career,
Exactly. Done.
you best believe there's nothing that any school or anyone's gonna offer me that will throw me off.
Exactly. That's how it starts.
A lot of the records I sample, the moment might just happen for 5 seconds. It just might be a 2-bar moment or an intro or an outro. And that's what we make the beat out of. And it's like the diligence of listening to all these records and waiting for that moment gives you your scope. There it is. That's the shit right there. I'm staying with that part.
From that tour, things eventually sort of go off the rails for the group. What happened?
We dropped a single. We had a video. I guess they didn't like the results they had from the single, Tommy Boy, and they just shelved the album. We had a whole album. This is when I was, I would say, sophomore, high school. I started getting into beats because when we got our budget, I bought an ASR 10. Lethal took me to Guitar Center. That's how I developed my style. After the
Guitar
tour,
Center is extinct now.
B Real moved to Venice, and he had a studio in his garage, set up an ASR 10, and I used to go there and make beats in the garage. And Muggs would come through and see me over there messing around and was like, yo, come to the crib with me, man. I'm working on Cypress 3 album. And then that's how I kind of went from hanging with B to like Muggs saying, come to my crib up in Nichols Canyon in Hollywood. And I would go to his house on the weekends. I would sleep on Muggs' couch and we would just work on beats. He saw how like excited I was to work. This is after the Hooligans. I'm in high school. And I was really good with the ASR 10, so that was like my job. And I had a good ear. So he would give me boxes of records and, go through records. I would find samples and like pull them up on the ASR and maybe chop something or maybe make like a halfway of a beat. But he wouldn't let me do the drums. He didn't trust my drums back then. He was like, nah, because he was the man. And he's paying me cash. I'm living great. And I did a lot on that album. When it came out, I didn't really have a credit on it. I didn't mind because I knew it wasn't my position. I didn't have a name yet. And Muggs was paying me well, keeping me in the mix. And it was a great opportunity. And it all paid off because how you think I met Mobb Deep? Through Muggs.
Hey.
Success
Ma.
to me is to be profitable
Deep,
and
Ma.
do good through something that I love to do. I think success is really defined by the person. I envy a person who doesn't care, who is just like enjoying every day, but just because the sun's out.
Are you still going to high school at this point?
I am going to high school.
And you're fully committed to like, music is my future. This is
I didn't
hip-hop.
really know still.
Oh, really?
I wanted it to be, but it was like something had already happened. I'd already gotten a deal. I've been on tour. I've done some stuff. I'm like, I'm not letting go of this dream. You already know I was hell-bent on it, but
At 15, 16,
it wasn't for sure.
Right.
By the time he graduated high school, Alchemist had already failed once, but more importantly, he had discovered his true talent. A move to New York to attend NYU would endanger his professional momentum, but Al had made crucial connections, specifically meeting Mobb Deep, that would set up his second act.
Look at that. About who you know, y'all.
I did
What's
2
up,
years at
O-Dog?
NYU. Was doing that little bit of producing for the High and Mighty or the Far Right Dilated. I was set up in the dorm originally, and we would just be making beats, trying to figure out a sound.
So how did you transition from that to starting to shop beats to artists that were signed to labels?
At the time, my parents were giving me, I think, like $1,000 a month to survive, to live. Like, here, we're gonna help you out. And I think at the time I was selling the weed with my roommates, I worked long enough to save 10 months worth of those checks, save like 10 G. I never would spend the check they were giving me. I didn't tell them 2 years later.
Smart.
It was like, once I had like 10 grand in a bank account,
Smart.
I remember like calling my parents going, yeah, I'm good from here. I'm gonna try. And just, I always wanted to push off. Like, I always wanted to feel my own weight.
Of course.
Like, man, it's a blessing in the world to have family that can help and be financially.
Of course.
Of course. Yo, this, bro, oh my gosh. This is about to, oh my gosh.
The greatest thing in the world, but then it also made me want to feel what it would be like on my own. I used to sit out with the advisor who looked at my GPA and was like, all right, you got to pick a major now. I was like, I don't really know what I want to pick, but, I'm doing a lot of music. It's been fairly decent. I have a history before that I did. I showed her everything. I told her what was up. She was like, you know what? If you want to give it a shot and you think you could make it work, you try. And you can always come back after a semester if it's not working.
Damn.
And I was like, cool. I was like, yeah.
And The Alchemist, as now he's probably 19, or depending when he graduated, 18, 19, right? In college, just aimlessly fucking off, making money though, selling weed, making beats, still living his aspirations out. The Alchemist has a situation with a a majoral advisor, a college advisor, and she says that to him? Back then too? This is already just like rarities on rarities on rarities. This nigga making 30 G's at 15, 16. Now, I'm not saying like, it happened quick, but him being on tour, meeting Mobb Deep when he's still in his adolescent years. What? That's beast mode, bro.
Yeah, can you tell my mom and dad that too?
That's the Alchemist, bro.
I called them. Yeah, and even the advisor said, they were like, I don't know, you're gonna stay in New York? I was like, yeah. And then after 2 years, I pushed off, didn't go back to school, and I stayed in New York, got an apartment, and I just was like, I'm gonna make it work. The first thing I did was
make it work, nigga.
I got a Cypress Hill remix that Muggs hooked up, Tequila Sunrise.
From the 4th album.
Yes, and it had Fat Joe on it. Those years, I was going on tour with Cypress every summer, 97, 98, 99, and I would roll with Muggs and kind of be his assistant, carry records, whatever they needed me to do, I was there. It was just like, I'm there.
How were you imagining your career
Play your role
playing out over the next few years?
I didn't really know where it was gonna go. I just wanted to be
That's so important.
A threat. Like I was now honing my production craft.
That's so important, y'all. You don't have, like, those y'all in high school when they ask you these dumb ass questions. I ain't gonna say it's dumb, it's kind of thought provoking, but it's asinine because where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you see yourself doing in 10 years? God damn it, I'm 16. I'm 17, not even knowing what the hell I'm having for dinner. I don't know. I can't even tell if this chick who I'm sweating is sweating me. Okay? And you want to ask me what the shit I'm thinking about for the next 5 years of my actual financial career? How to make a living, quote unquote? Man, get out my face with that right about now. Thank you for posing the question. Okay? But in the moment, it's okay to not have the answer. All I know is I wanted to be a threat. So the universe is going to conspire everything that I think, I believe, I trust, I have faith in, and I have bestowed knowledge upon, is going to allow that to come into my path. That's it. That's all. And look at, man, what? This is decades of, man, cool, boy.
I'm not like some of these guys who are like, your first beats are the beats people have heard. I had a lot of time to develop my style.
Fucking
there was
right.
eras of me making beats that nobody heard except for probably Evidence, where it was like I was just imitating Premier. I didn't have my sound yet, And it
Shout
took
out
me a
Premier,
long
bro.
time to develop.
And that's why he always give credit to Premier and Dilla.
What I felt was going to be like something unique, which was basically my expression as a producer.
And now to this day, he got his.
We're working with
Alchemist
electronics.
beat, boy.
We're not robots. There's an immediate fight right there. Some people give in to the fight and just go, let's go, quantize, and just turn into a rap robot.
Yeah.
You need to have something that's locked in, all right, but then be free with it and humanize your shit and give it like some type of personality that makes it unique.
Which beats were the ones where you felt like, okay, I have a voice?
I think Keep It Thorough. Once I started working with Mobb Deep, that pretty much changed everything. Like, I can pretty much put my career on a timeline of before Mobb Deep, after Mobb Deep. Mobb Deep was a legendary group who I idolized before I even knew them. Muggs had worked with them on his album and told me, yo, when I
Zeno,
worked
what's
with
good,
them,
my
I met
dog?
the young guys. They got these guys down
Happy
with them
Tuesday,
infamous
bro.
mob.
What's good?
It's like they're young guys. You're my young homie. You guys should hook up in New York. So we linked up. And then that led to Infamous Mob saying, yo, come to the studio. We got to introduce you to Having P. They had just started Murder Music.
Connections.
The album.
Yeah.
So I know where they're at now, the studio. I'm down with Infamous Mob. All right, cool. Now I would like always come there and P would not be there. Havoc would be there. And then Havoc would be there and they'd be like, play me some shit. And I had this one dat, played him a bunch of beats. And then he would be like, I like this one beat. So I would come back 2 days later or 3 days later, and then P would be there. And then I would play that same dat for P, and he'd be like, skim through, I like this one beat. It was the same beat it have like. It was the realest. You know, a month or so later was when P called me and said, yo, bring that beat through, son. Walk in the room, and then G-Rap is just sitting there. You know, I was just like, whoa. You know, it's like, of
Cool
course, we grew up
G-Rap.
off of Cool G-Rap. And P was like, yo, you know that beat? We want to use that shit for G-Rap. Now, in retrospect,
That's awesome.
I think, like, if I had a manager at the time and was like, cool, wait a minute, and it was like, let me call my manager, and that shit might not have happened. I was so excited that I just told the engineer, like, where's the engineer at? Like, plug me up. And
So
I
there's
just
no
tracked
conversation
the
about
fucking
money.
beat that I just told the engineer, like, where's the engineer at? Like,
Wow.
plug me up. And I
So
just
there's no
tracked the
conversation
That's
about
powerful
money.
right there. That's
Nothing.
powerful.
This was the greatest opportunity. He just told me put the beat up for us with Cool G-Rap.
Give
I
a
was like,
fuck.
crazy, track the beat instantly. That's how that relationship started with Mobb Deep. And then that's why I feel like Keep It Thorough was a big record, because it proved I wasn't a fluke.
I do doubt myself, and it sucks, but sometimes you gotta check yourself, and that can be confused as doubt. Checking yourself is good. Don't doubt yourself.
Right. Agreed. Lead by
So once you
example.
get the Mob and then the Prodigy records out, your name starts to really ring off in terms, you know, in a larger way in hip hop. What was the process like of
Hair
trying to sell
off.
beats back in 99, 2000, 2001?
You had to be physically out there. Like, there was no email. You know, staying home and making beats was like the one part of it, but straight up running up in the studio, making my own phone calls. I didn't have a manager at the time, and it was like, so I would make relationships. As a
Yep.
producer, the ones I looked up to coming up, they all produced whole albums first. I think I was one of those guys, came in that next generation of producers who was kind of like a nomad.
Tracks.
Like, okay, I need to be on as many albums as possible, and I need a name tag, Alchemist. Like, that was all intentional. You know, it was like, I want to be known. I want people to know I made this beat. As
Yeah.
producers, we were like salesmen. I got a new batch. All right, cool. I got to hit up everybody this week because I'm trying to start a bidding war, because it was all about who's cutting that first half and when. Like, you want the beat? Cut the first half, because I'm about to go to see Puff. Puff likes that joint. He's working on whatever. All the producers, we stayed on our toes because of this, because we were able to hear what everybody else was doing, to hear your competition, to see what, you know, Rockwilder's doing. Like, he used to kick my ass every time I'd see him, and he'd play some beats, and like, he's here? Like, we'd walk in and be like, nah, I'm gonna come back another day, man. This ain't fair, you know, he's too good. We really respect each other. I remember some rough nights trying to play beats and it's just not hitting. Or they would just send you home and, you know, just make you work harder.
As an artist, it's always hard to take criticism. It's like a nasty pill to swallow. It's bitter. It's like, fuck you, man, what? It's cool to feel that way at first, but I think criticism is important. As long as it's people that you can trust, that it's a non-biased, genuine opinion.
How were you negotiating things like your rate? I imagine it's changing as you're getting more and more placements.
In the early days, it was all about an advance. That's all I cared about.
Getting the front
In the
half.
beginning was just getting your, I didn't even know about publishing or any of that shit, honestly. And I think that's a blessing. Because had I known
Right.
about all that shit
He'd have
early,
played differently.
probably wouldn't have did so many beats that ended up becoming great beats. Because I might have been like, wait a minute, what's my split on the publishing?
Exactly.
How much are they taking on the sample? Oh, hell no. You know what I mean? My innocence and just wanting to be dope
Man.
and be on these albums.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it hurt my pockets a little bit probably, but I wouldn't take it back for a million years because I have my discography.
Oh my
I got to a
gosh.
certain point where it was
Fucking
like, okay,
gold.
what's my future? What am I gonna do now? Now I'm here. Okay, people know me, did some cool beats. And that's when I went back to my old thought of, damn, all the people I looked up to made whole albums. I gotta make an album. And that's when it was my goal, when I did First Infantry.
How did that change when you went from being a behind the scenes person to then being the front facing?
It wasn't a plan in that aspect. It was a goal to produce an album in its entirety, and I didn't have anyone else who was like, yo, we want you to do this whole album. I was like, well, fuck it, I'll produce my own album. As a producer, it's always been a tricky thing. Like, how do you sell a producer as an artist? But over the years, like, I would always write every now and then. Like, I always think of raps when I'm making a beat. Like, it's the same way I'm imagining a bass line or a drum. I'm imagining rap always, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Hold You Down was a loose record we made at the crib. I wasn't making it for my album, but then when it was time to work on the album, I had that. And there was like, this is catchy and it's me, and all right, fuck it, I'll rap on it. Or I was already on it, I'm saying, well, make it the single, because then for Koch, it was like an opportunity to promote me as an artist. It would normally be harder if you're a producer on an album, you know, otherwise, like, what are you gonna do, stand behind a rapper? Like, yo, this is my shit. This is just me rapping, and it was kind of awkward because some people thought I was a rapper at first. But it took, and it worked. And Prodigy was on the first verse. He was as hot as fish grease at the time. And Nina Sky was just blowing up.
Was the market informing your artistic decisions at all?
I never felt pressure from the music industry to make something that was relevant. It was a great time because the people I was down with, the Locks, Mobb Deep, these are the biggest guys in New York. You know, Mobb always had commercial success being
Locks.
hardcore. That's how we pulled off Got It Twisted. We go to the meeting at Jive, and Pete picked me up and said, come with me to the meeting, man. I felt kind of weird about it. I'm like, it's y'all album. Should I really come with you? He's like, yeah, man, we're gonna listen to the whole album with the owners of Jive. We're gonna pick the singles. So we get to the meeting, Barry Weiss, Chris Lighty, all of us, we all sit down in this room. Chris Lighty goes, all right, hold on, before we start, I wanna bring in Who Kid. Who Kid is the ear of the streets, and I really respect his opinion, so we wanna hear what he has to say. At first, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why is Who Kid in here? You know what I mean? What's going on here? So, cool. Play the whole album, every song. Have the Most of Them Boom, to listen to everything. All right, singles, let's go back. They went straight to the Kanye joint and my joint. Straight to it. Let's just reevaluate those. We played the Kanye West joint. Barry Weiss going crazy bangers. And he said, my son loves Kanye West. Then we played Got It Twisted again, right? And was listening to it. And then Cool Kid stepped out of nowhere and was like, are you guys serious? This is a no-brainer. Are we really deciding? He said, one sounds like Saturday afternoon, the other one sounds like you're getting stabbed in a club. This is Mobb Deep. And everybody, and that was it. And I swear after that, I hugged that motherfucker. I was like, yo, you're the best, man.
Changed his life.
I was like, he was just being genuine.
Yeah.
You mentioned We Gonna Make It, and I know that was somewhat controversial record when it came out. What happened? Bro.
We Gonna Make It, the way that happened was this dude, Ray, I think, I forget, he worked at Priority. They bought a bunch of beats off of me, like a 3-package deal, and I tracked a bunch of beats, never heard back from them. And so later on, when that type of thing would happen back then, I was like, yeah, I'm using that beat for something else. And people don't even know, I tracked that beat for Nas. After that, when Nas was doing the 41st album, he picked that beat and I tracked it to a 2-inch tape for him. It was gonna be his solo song. And then he left town, came back, and they're like, nah, he didn't do it, Nashawn is gonna use it or something. And I was like, And I took it back. I also played We Gonna Make It for Jay-Z in person.
That could have been a Nas record, it could have been a Jay-Z.
Could have been a Nas record, could have been a J record. Very close, yes.
So Kiss gets the beat, makes the song, and then were you completely surprised when Razzcast comes out of the work?
I don't remember how it went. It was kind of like, oh man, you know, kind of a letdown on how it all unfolded, but Kiss record was so big, and when you look back in history, it was meant to be. Yeah, I'll never forget the day Kiss played the verse. I was over there, I went up to Yonkers. And the first line, it was already like, holy shit.
So in 2007, you did what would become the first of a series of collaborative albums that you've continued to do to this day. How did you end up deciding you and Prodigy were gonna work on The Return of the Mac together?
He used to damn near live with me at that time. Like, he would come through every day, stay late, and leave powdered white donut wrappers everywhere and just like leave a mess and write rhymes, and we would watch YouTube stuff for hours. He used to record stuff off of YouTube with his VHS camera because he's like, some of this info is gonna go away. Like, P was insane. We did a couple songs and it started going good, and that was the first time that I noticed P trusted me all the way. Like, being able to do that whole project and have P meant a lot to me at the time. It was just gonna be a mixtape. And then it was just like, we gotta put this out for real. I wasn't on my A game yet as far as putting together albums the way I think I am now.
Did it change how you thought about production or making music?
Yeah, there's sections of a song, right? And you put in your magnifying glass and you make each section special, right? An album is a big song, and there's moments everywhere throughout that album, just like there's moments in a song. I started looking at it like that. Like, all right, if I could keep a song interesting, then I gotta be able to keep an album interesting and treat it like one big fucking song. Producing is kind of like psychology more than technology. It's like a lot of it is like knowing how to communicate with an artist in order to get the best version of them out of them. You know, you're not gonna draw blood from a rock. You can't come in there and force somebody to do something. That's never been my technique. I want them to stay in their confident bag. I don't want them to start losing their confidence. I may be like, yo, listen to this last take we did a couple of takes ago. See that part? I love that part. Man, see the tone you had there? That's what we're trying to get.
Around that time also,
AKA reinforcing great behavior. Beneficial, effective behavior. Yes.
the whole music industry starts to change.
Yeah.
How were you thinking about that as this is very beginning of streaming and
I was like skeptical about it all. The music industry kind of burnt me out after like my run of doing Hold You Down and then having success as an artist and then coming back years later with my follow-up album and trying to do it bigger and making all these fucking mistakes that I'm like, damn, I wish I could have done it differently, you know?
What do you mean?
Like, I think every artist has their version of this if they make it through the storm. First album came out, had success, didn't expect it. Then I arrived. Mob is on top. I'm here. I'm an artist now. Like, I'm fine. So many things happening. And I took 2-3 years. You know what I mean? And it was way too long. And at that point, the sound was starting to change and things were getting bigger. And I tried to compete, thinking of my first album, like, I gotta go up. All right, so now I gotta get Twista and Maxwell on this joint, and I'm gonna rhyme on it. At one point, you know, Jim was hot and I was on Koch Jones, and they got me a Jim Jones verse for like some crazy amount of money, and I was convinced that this was gonna be the answer to my career, and I made 4 versions of the Jim Jones version. I got Nina Sky back on it. I did so much. I ended up not using the song at all.
Wow.
And when I listened back to that album or that moment
Chemical
in my career,
Warfare.
I hate it.
I'm about to watch that or listen to that.
Efforts to top his solo debut fell flat, but the creative frustration of that moment would provoke an important move. Back home in LA, Alchemist established a studio and an open door policy. Al's workspace would become a hub for a generation of talent, including Action Bronson, Currency, Vince Staples, and many others.
Hey.
But in addition to finding inspiration musically, Al would also find inspiration as an entrepreneur, prompting him to radically reinvent his business model.
That was the old studio.
oh shit, okay.
That was the whole first era.
Really? Okay.
It was over there. Yep.
Like rare chandeliers and all that kind of stuff?
All that. Cobra Coupe, Rare Chandeliers. That's kind of where all the shit started. That's when we first.
And all that kind of stuff?
All that. Cobra Coupe, Rare Chandeliers. That's kind of where all the shit started. That's when we first started, like, what we were calling rap camp. And then, boom, we're over here.
And you
now.
guys are over here?
Over here now. We basically built it up, me and Neil. Neil kind of came up with the design, my brother.
Okay.
And it was like empty at first. It was just like a big blank canvas. And then we kind of.
You came back to LA, what, in like 2005, 2006?
Yeah.
How integral was getting this studio and creating the rap camp environment to you getting into that next phase?
Very important. It was just a great mix of people coming over. And I think it was Chuck English. I give him a lot of credit. I forget what year it was, the end of the year, New Year's. We had a party over there at the studio, and then we just had a barbecue. Action was there, and he was like cooking, and we just kept the barbecue going for a whole week. No rules.
Damn.
There was no A&R. There was no managers, really. There was no agenda. It was free. And it was like, but we knew everybody was competitive and wanted to create. Those were the early stages of where I'm at now. And rap camp started kind of developing. And to me, that's like the whole phase 2 of my career. Of like, you know, from what I built to, all right, where do I go from here? Really, the pivotal one was Cobra Coupe. My friend Brock was connected with Currency,
Shout
brought
out
him
Currency,
over.
man.
He came over to do a song, and we did 2 that day. and he wanted to drop them that night.
Woo.
And that blew my mind. Like, what do you mean we just recorded it? He was like, nah, that's how I do it. I have a fan base, I feed them. And I was like, well, we just did these songs tonight. We want to drop them today. Can we mix them first? He was like, all right, well, if we're not dropping these tonight, I need you to loop up this Rick Ross beat for me so I can do a freestyle. It was like some beat. And I was like, deal. I looped up some instrumental. He laid a freestyle, recorded it. He posted it up immediately after he recorded it. And he was like, all right, cool. And I'm like,
wow.
Damn, like he really had the pressure to drop something tonight. He was like, this is insane. I didn't get it yet. Then we did 2 songs. The next morning, he was like, these songs are too good. Let's keep working. I'm gonna stay in LA. Fast forward, we made a whole album. There was some complications why we couldn't put it out through the label he was talking to at the time. And then Currency called me and was like, yo, I just want to put it out. I'll put it out. I'm just gonna put it out for free. I'm like, for free? Like, I've never done anything like that before in my life. Like, at this point, I'm already successful making music. This is my career. And he was like, man, listen, I'll pay you. I was like, I'm not gonna take money from you. He said, well, look, doing this collab with Diamond, it's a capsule, we can make it a Covert Coupe capsule, and I'll give you the bread. And I just took a risk. I was like,
wait, okay, hold on. Let's run that back one more time. How that play was ran.
Doing this collab with Diamond, it's a capsule, we can make it a Covert Coupe capsule.
Wait, Diamond Supply Co? Remember when everybody had the diamond socks and the diamond shoes and shit, diamond shirts sold at PacSun and Zoomies and everything? Is that the collaboration?
Diamond, it's a capsule, we can make it a Covert Coupe capsule, and I'll give you the bread. And I just took a risk. I was like, fuck it, put the album out free and just sell the clothes? All right, whatever.
Clothes,
and
yeah.
Boy, did it work.
Damn.
So the day was going by of the release and it was just selling like crazy. Towards the end of the day, they were monitoring the sales and they were like, all right, these shirts are slowing down, we're gonna cut them off. So some people show up and they still don't get it. It's how we maintain our brand.
Yeah.
There's a technique to all this shit. Those were the early days of me seeing that. So Covert Coupe changed everything in my mind, because I never thought like that in the past.
Currency, look, and if we were to break down shit, Currency's name, get his goddamn, what's his zodiac sign, and his life path number, and his energy, it just go together, Pert. We should do that. We should do the Alchemist birthday, and then Currency's birthday, because I've heard him talk about that moment and Currency on multiple occasions in that way, like changed his financial, mental fortitude completely just by Currency being Currency. Like he had, like him having to drop, that's like, yeah, him feeling like he has to drop a video or oh, okay, finally, we're good. Like yes, my supporters can get this, yes. Almost like the bill collector. Like if you don't pay that rent, if you don't pay that $1,500 for rent, that $300 for the light bill, $200, $150 for the Wi-Fi, and it's pent up. It's like pent up stress.
I pretty much make the bulk of my shit like super early. I have a lot of different projects I'm always working on, so I might come in and finish a mix. I might come in and get to a batch of records that I've been meaning to listen to. I might finish up the beat from the night before. Sometimes I might be in here for 17 fucking hours, literally, in one chair, working. And I'm like, I wouldn't,
Real shit.
Nobody could ever pay me to do that.
Real shit. Real shit. Real shit, man.
That was that pivotal moment in my career where it was like, all right, am I gonna be known as the guy that did Mobb Deep and Dilated, or at least I started meeting this new generation of kids who grew up off that shit. Action, Mac Miller, Schoolboy Q, Earl, Damo Genesis, Danny Brown.
Vince.
And it was like this new batch of artists who were coming up, and I realized,
Mike.
Damn, this is dope because they know me for what I did. So I can just be me. I don't have to chase any sound or trend, but now here's my chance. Like the Burning Bush, like, all right, what do I do here? Do I just like, oh, rap changing, or do I embrace them and be like, yo, let's go. Let's make history. And that was like that changed everything for me.
Yeah.
2010 or whatever, around that time was all those guys that really helped give me another lease on rap as a producer.
2010 shit. Is that Golf Wang? Is that Golf Wang crazy era? 2010, I think so. 2010? Where was I? Oh yeah, kinda. I was, yeah. Yeah. Shit.
Now I'm seeing the guys who, like me, never heard Mobb Deep in their life. I just know you from Schoolboy Q. Yeah, it's a blessing. The last 10 years for me has been like the most fun, and it feels like laying out some breadcrumbs, and I can't wait to see
Who picks it up
what's
next?
gonna come from this.
Yeah.
So there's like these unforeseen elements that you're not going to be able to prepare for, and you will not know when it happens. Do you need to do those 10,000 hours? Of course, because those hours you put in will prepare you
gonna make-
for that unforeseen moment when you get out of the studio and you're in the world and you're, exchanging energy with other people. And there's going to be somewhere you're at or some person, and then that moment's going to happen where you're going to get that break.
People like you to do you. Like if I'm gonna try to make something for someone else, like someone, no one will even like me. And it was really cool once I got to that point in my career where it was like, damn, I could do what I do. And I think that's how me and Freddie worked good. Because when he came to me, he really made me feel like, man, he really is genuinely a fan like I am of him.
At what point would you say that like the current paradigm that you're in now really like came into focus for you?
Between 3 to 5 years ago. I give a lot of credit to Knowledge. You're one of my favorite producers and one of my best friends. He would play me shit all the time. And like he had his Bandcamp page. I didn't really understand Bandcamp. Here I am, an old school guy still stuck in whatever the ways are that I know. Oh, it's Bandcamp. It's like, oh, it's like an iTunes, my own. I'm like, huh? And he'd like pull up his Bandcamp page and it'd just be like 50 artworks of covers, album covers. I'm like, what are all these? He's like, different projects. You click on one, 3 beats for, $7.99. Another one was 15 remixes for $12.99. Another one was 1 beat for. It was all these different things. I'm like, who did all this art? He's like, me. I was like jealous.
Huh?
Oh, this is fresh. I want one of these. And he kind of pushed me over to like finally doing it, to where I finally did it one day. I made a Bandcamp page, and I put out a project called French Blends.
Huh.
And it was just instrumentals, digital only. And I sold it for like $20 or whatever it was. And the next day it was going straight to the PayPal, and I can't explain.
Woo! Woo! I hope y'all motherfuckers listening. I hope y'all is listening, boy. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And it was just instrumentals, digital only. And I sold it for like $20 or whatever it was. And the next day it was going straight to the PayPal, and I can't explain to you how it felt. This far in my career, all the money I made, all the shit I've done, this felt different. This was like, whoa, this is a main line. Like all the years of slow dripping and going through so many fucking different people. This is where it's at. This is it. Wow. This is the business of music.
The product, the actual producer to consumer. Bro, you can't make this up, dog. You can't make this up, man. Who will study? Who will study the studies that the students neglect to study? Who's going to study those studies? Study that. See, and this is why competition, especially nowadays, is so easy. Well, let me not use that because y'all know it's never going to be easy, always going to be simple. Competition in 2024 is so very simple. All you have to do is just go longer than the losers. But let's make it simpler than that. Like, actually, makes sense. More sense. They're not going to study the studies that's going to make them a master at studying. They're going to study the studies that gets them in the ballpark. They get them in the line, the waiting line. You see? They're going to give up anyway, man. They are. And I got to be honest, bro. I know at different scales, yes, but I am very aware on the feeling that the Alchemist had whenever he's seen that. Whenever he's seen that fulfillment from just making beats. Just making beats. Building his personal brand. Little do y'all know, this man that is talking to us and has been given all of these gems in these 35 minutes we've been watching thus far, this man is worth multi-millions of dollars, bro. I had 3 pairs of those exact Vans in 2015. I had 3 pairs of those exact, because y'all know I love blue and green, mostly blue. I had that same flannel, that same type of jacket in my closet, but my colors are blue and red and maroon, orange, and like a fall, autumn type of color. Bro. Oh my gosh, man. I want to hear that again. I want to hear all that again. I want to hear all of this again.
And he kind of pushed me over to like finally doing it, to where I finally did it one day. I made a Bandcamp page, and I put out a project called French Blends.
French Blends.
And it was just instrumentals.
It's not even nobody on it. It's nobody on it. Nobody else you need but your craft, your mastery, and your studies. That's what you need. Your craft, your mastery, and your studies. Put all
digital only. And I sold it for like $20 or whatever it was at it. And the next day it was going straight to the PayPal. And I can't explain to you how it felt. This far in my career, all the money I made, all the shit I've done,
just know he saw a cool and the price, like he mentioning the price, right? What? Thank you, but like thank you to a bigger source, a bigger power. But just know, in about 6 hours, he's seen 6 digits.
This felt different. This was like, whoa, this is a main line. Like all the years of slow dripping and going through so many fucking different people. This is where it's at. This is it. Wow. This is the business of music that I could have probably figured out, what's behind door number 3 this whole time, but they'll scare you into thinking that you can't do that shit. And once I did that and realized, holy shit, I can control my career for real now. I had watched a thing years back from Trent Reznor, a case study by Trent Reznor on YouTube, and it changed my life. And basically they came up with a formula. RTB plus CWF equals success.
Wait a minute. Where's my pen? RTB. CBF. RTB plus. He said plus. Where's
formula? RTB plus CWF
equals success.
UF equals success. And it was like connect with fans plus reason to buy.
God damn it, man. God damn it, man. God damn it, man. Reason to buy. connect with fans. They don't want to do this work. They don't want to do this work. But that's why you show them. You put it in their motherfucking face so they realize the difference between you, the real niggas, and the motherfucking fraudulent niggas, man. Don't y'all never get it.
Fan base is small, but they love what we do. So I immediately saw I gotta sell shit more expensive, smaller amounts, limited. From that day forward, I gotta sell shit more expensive, smaller amounts, limited. From that day forward, I started pressing my own stuff, choosing my quality, making my price points, creating a brand. For so long, I always wanted to have a reputation as Alchemist, the producer. And I'm like, all right, my beats will let you know who Alchemist is. Then I started looking at Stone's Throw and Wolf and other people like, wow, their label is like my Alchemist, the name. Like, they put music out through their label and their label has a taste. If I do a label, it can have a taste also. And I started really creating products that I love, that I think are fresh, limiting them through trial and error. Every time I made a mistake, and I loved it. I loved the mistakes because I was learning from them, and it was
I'm
like,
getting
okay.
something.
And it took a year or two.
I'm getting
and after
something.
2 years of steady releases with ALC, with vinyl, then started doing limited cassette CD, limited merch, really putting care into the shit, like not worrying about the whole fucking rap game, like whatever. I'm not in it anymore. This is a world I got. Thank God it exists. I feel like we developed this market, which is insane now. I mean, the type of money that's being made off of merch and vinyl is nuts. I don't think anyone saw it coming. There's more than one way to skin a cat. You know, and there are so many income streams now that once you figure it out, this is the best time ever. And I've been feeling so good about it. That's how last year I was able to do the Boldy James and the Freddie Gibbs and like these albums that are now like
Fucking Hall of Fame. Grand Slam. Bitch, out the park, nigga. Bases fucking loaded. You know where this is going, stupid. You know where this is going. I practiced this moment too many goddamn times. Fucking dumbass, boy. Oh my gosh.
the Boldy James and the Freddie Gibbs and like these albums that are now like, man, being able to create catalog under my own label, that's a dream.
What are the goals for the next few years?
My goal is to not give a shit about anybody who thinks I'm doing too much. I'm actually gonna do more. Fuck the music industry. And just be honest.
Fucking doing too much. I'ma do more. I'ma get into more. But more is less. Anyway, more is less and less is more. These are only different branches on the same tree that I'm standing. Let that sink in. This branch weighs a pound. This branch weighs 5 pounds. This branch weighs 10. But look how big the tree is. You ever thought about that one? Dumbass. 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 Dumbass.
Next few years.
My goal is to not give a shit about anybody who thinks I'm doing too much. I'm actually gonna do more. You know, fuck the music industry. And just be honest, like it's a headache. It's a fucking disgusting industry. And I don't feel like I'm in it anymore. So when I make beats and I produce on someone's album, yeah, I'm in the industry. There's no way around it, okay? Gotta get the lawyers, do the things, everything. But for the most part, I'm running a microbrewery now. You know? I'm banging shit out, doing shit at my rate, tapped into a fan base that I'm directly connected through the places that I sell it, and it's just totally in touch with the people, and it's a perfectly working ecosystem. So in that aspect, it's like I bailed out of the industry, and it feels great.
Energy can't be created or destroyed, just changed. Lead by example and stay low and keep. This is the best interview I've ever watched, ever. This is the best interview I've watched. This is top 3 interview. Most likely number 1 I've ever watched. Vince has some good ones, really good ones. This is the best interview I've ever watched, bro. Was this an interview? Or was this a semi TED talk? This is the best ever, bro. The best ever. Fucking Allen, man. Got it on standby, bro. Got it on standby, bro. Got it on standby, bro. This was the best ever. This was the best ever. RTB plus CWF equals success. CWF plus RTB equals stay low and keep firing. I ain't got nothing else to say, bro.